In the first example of policing in the movie, the casino owner is driving a Porsche down the highway, and The Rock, who is the sheriff, pulls in behind him and flips his lights on and pulls him over. He pulls him over with apparently no provocation, asks for his registration and his license, and after they exchanged a few words back and forth, The Rock told him, gave him back his license and registration and told him that this was his last warning and to get his taillights fixed. The suspect replied, "What's wrong with my taillights?" And the response Rock gave was, "They're broken," as he busted them out with his 4x4 piece of cedar. The movie I chose was Walking Tall with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. The pretense of the movie, The Rock is coming home from the military to a small town that he grew up in to find out that the town is no longer the same. The lumber mill that his father once worked at, and he enjoyed the smell of the cedar being cut, has been replaced with a casino that is ran by a crooked man. And he's also turns out to be the drug dealer of the town. I feel this would be very unconstitutional. For one, he pulled him over without any provocation, just basically to intimidate him. That, and he destroyed private property, and I think just because you have reason to believe somebody is a drug dealer in the town and is selling drugs to kids, that you can't destroy his property. In the second example of policing, The Rock, the sheriff, and his deputy, Johnny Knoxville, are going through the chain of drug dealers and tweakers to find the source of the meth in the town. They have come up and they have found a casino worker that is believed to be a drug dealer, and they are beating him and decide to search him and find a bag of methamphetamine. The suspect then says, "Now you read me my rights and arrest me." Well, they never read him his rights. They do arrest him, and then they decide that it would be a good idea to search his truck. And in the process, they destroy this probably a $50,000 truck, which I think would be a big violation of his rights, because if he was found not guilty, who's going to pay to restore that truck? To me, it would be the responsibility of the agency that arrested him in the first place. That, and I'm pretty sure that, beating on a suspect is definitely a violation of his civil rights. In the third example, the sheriff in the town that Rock took his place when he told the town that he was going to clean it up, the sheriff that used to hold the office showed up at the police station or the sheriff's office and blew up The Rock's truck, and him and 3 of his deputies were shooting machine guns into the building. Well, The Rock had his suspect from earlier in jail, and the guy was saying, "You have to get me out of here," and The Rock questioned him on where the meth lab was, and this guy told him where it was to avoid being killed by this machine gun fire. So his information was that he received was under duress, and I would believe inadmissible. And so no search warrant was ever mentioned in the movie, and The Rock found out where the meth lab was and went to the lumber mill where the lab was supposed to be, and never announced who he was, and went in and found the meth lab, and in turn found the main bad guy in the movie, and a fight ensued, and in the process of arresting him, they fought almost to the death, and then right before The Rock said, "You're under arrest," he beat him the suspect with a piece of timber from a tree that was nearby. I believe this would have been very unconstitutional. He didn't announce that he was a police officer before entering the sawmill. He had no search warrant, and the information that led him to believe that the meth lab was in the mill was obtained under duress. I really think that this case would have never made it to court, and the drug dealer in the town would have never seen the inside of a courtroom. I chose this movie because I'm a big fan of The Rock's, and I like action movies.